think it's time to buy stock in Keelon Russell. The Duncanville quarterback is having a fun offseason. He's an SMU commit, but Russell is now being recruited by everyone. Alabama was the most recent offer, but got to remember, SMU does feel confident in their ability to keep him. Now we're going to talk to Steve Wiltfong for the latest on Russell's recruitment. Steve, what are you hearing coming off another recruiting weekend?
Well, I think a school that I need to start mentioning a lot more with him and mentioning first when I start talking about schools that have the best chance to flip him is Ole Miss. We've been sleeping on Ole Miss a little bit, Joshua, as we talk about Keelon Russell on Inside Scoop and Whip Around. But he returned to Ole Miss's campus recently for an official visit. And Ole Miss was the first major program to offer Keelon Russell a scholarship. That predates SMU. They were at the table before the Mustangs were at the table. And talking to Keelon Russell's dad this week, they loved that they were able to evaluate and see something in Keelon before the rest of the country did, and even the in-state program. So this is a young man that's been winning going back to Pee Wee football, 6 years old. Led Duncanville to a state championship as a junior with a fantastic season. Ole Miss offered him before the season, or offered him in September. And so they've been on this train for a while. They got him back to campus. They loved the atmosphere of that football program. And the elder Russell compared it to Oregon when Chip Kelly was building it up with the swagger and the uniforms and the Nike. He's gets that same kind of feeling around Ole Miss with the exciting offense. And Ole Miss has had the two best seasons in program history under Lane Kiffin. They like Charlie Weiss and the offense and the way those guys work together and scheme it up. So he's going to take upcoming visits to SMU. He'll be back there for his official visit this month. He's got Alabama and Florida coming up. But if you're asking me, and Oregon and Texas are in it, but if you're asking me which school I think the biggest threat is to flip him from SMU, I would say Ole Miss right now.
Now, he is committed to SMU, and how would you consider how solid is he right now to SMU, in your opinion?
Well, I think, they really like SMU and being in Dallas and being around all those opportunities off the field, the marketing, the alumni, the contacts that you can make, that SMU's transitioning to the ACC, being part of the roster that helps them be very competitive in that league. And certainly Coach Lashley and his staff have done a great job. So there's still a lot SMU has going on for them in this recruitment. But, Josh, we've been doing this a long time. And when you got these SEC programs sniffing around, it is hard to hang on. I'm not saying they're not gonna, but we know. Trey, producer in the back, he knows it's going to be hard for SMU to hang on to Keelon Russell with these prominent programs with what they have to offer also at the table. But we'll see how his official visit goes.
We'll see how it all goes. And like you said, it's going to play itself out over these visits. Keelon Russell not shutting it down, but he is still committed to SMU. All right, let's talk some 2026 quarterback. You got some new predictions. Will Griffin out of Tampa Jesuit, On3's number 7 ranked quarterback in the 26 class. You predicted him to Florida. What are you hearing there?
Well, I think Florida's the team to beat us. He continues to work through his process, so my RPM reflects that. He's been to campus several times. Family has attended school there. On one of his most recent visits, he shadowed DJ Lagway, got a day in the life of DJ Lagway, true freshman quarterback at Florida. Coach Napier, Coach O'Hara, those are guys that he's built a good rapport with. Florida's all in on a lot of these in-state quarterbacks. Brady Hart, I think they're near the top of the list for 2 out of Cocoa, another Florida legacy recruit that they'll have a great shot at. Dia Bell, they'll continue to swing on. Noah Grubbs as well. And Noah Grubbs, the intel's favoring Notre Dame right now. And Notre Dame's definitely at the top or near the top for Brady Hart as well. Dia Bell, you got Texas, you got LSU, you got Penn State, programs like that they're battling. But for Will Griffin, I think that they are setting the bar in that recruitment with so many great visits, and just him thinking about playing in the swamp, I think fires him up too. I mean, he loves it there in Gainesville, and Florida's doing a good job there. So my RPM reflects that.
All right, now Houston, Texas 2026 quarterback Keelon Henderson. He's ranked as the number 2 athlete in America, but what's the latest intel you got there?
Well, this is one of the most coveted recruits on the board for Houston head coach Willie Fritz and his staff, regardless of cycle. He's a 2026 number 31 prospect in the country overall. Some schools like him as a wideout, where he was terrific as a ninth grader, but Houston sees him as the face of their program at quarterback. He's going to visit there on May 17th, and I think they're the one to beat, and my RPM reflects that, just what Coach Fritz and company did at Tulane. And this is a relationship that goes back to them being at Tulane, where they got to know Keelon, so it was a smooth transition to Houston. Their offensive coordinator, Sean Bell, he had a relationship with Keelon as well. And so I think those strong relationships, being the face of the program, Houston on the rise in the Big 12 now, I like where Houston stands, and so my RPM reflects that.
All right, the last 2026 quarterback we want to talk about is the number 13 ranked quarterback in the class, Jonas Williams. What's the latest update on his recruitment?
He's already started to narrow down his list, and Chad Simmons has reported on this as well. But talking to him this week, there are 4 front runners for him, and I would give 3 the best shot of the group right now, because Oregon's the 4th. It's been a dream school of his, but he knows the least amount about them. That doesn't mean they can't make a run. We've seen them make a run. But Oklahoma, he's heavy on Oklahoma. He's heavy on Ohio State, and he's heavy on LSU. He's going to return to all those campuses this summer. We'll see if he makes a decision after this next wave of visits. I know he told Chad that he'd play out his junior year, but 2026 quarterback dominoes are starting to fall, and those will be return trips for him. So we'll see if he's got more clarity on his process. But those are the schools that are at the top of his list. He also added Louisville's in play too. So he might get down to the Cardinals campus, and we'll see if they can leapfrog up past some of these programs.